Hi, I am Tina Jain Kaushal and you are watching BTTV. EPFO has extended the last date for filing applications to opt for a higher pension. This is the second time the EPFO has extended the deadline and this time it is June 26. I am joined today by Shantla Kumble, Senior Vice President, International Money Matters, a SEBI registered investment advisor, to tell us in detail about the higher pension option. Welcome to show Shantala. Would it be advisable to apply for higher pension option? What are your views on it?
Yeah, Tina, there is no one answer to this question, frankly. I mean, there is maths to it, right? I mean, obviously, when you're applying for a higher pension, you will get a much higher pension, but there is a cost to it as well. I mean, then the cost is you will get a much lower PF corpus. The EPF corpus, which you will be getting, is much lower. So it's a trade off between the two. Very difficult. Of course, there is math, but beyond the math, I think there is a bigger question onto how you exactly feel about it as an individual. For example, when you get a bigger corpus on retirement, whether it actually empowers you or you feel that kind of empowerment or you feel it's a hazard to manage it. I think is that the bigger question than whether the EPS pension will be bigger or how much you're going to lose. That's the secondary question. So if you're feeling really empowered, I can manage my money well. I can make it more tax effective. I can beat the inflation. I can manage my asset allocation. If that is the situation, then I rather go for the lower pension and not go for this joint declaration. But if I feel no, this is too much of a headache, I can't manage my own money, nor do I have an advisor who will help me with all this asset allocation and managing the various investment vehicles that are there, then I rather go for the joint declaration or for the higher pension. That will possibly make me, hazard free and won't worry me much in my retirement age. So it actually very personal, and it's not just the calculation part of it.
Okay, as you said, there is a lot of maths involved in it. One has to see whether higher pension or higher EPF corpus suits to one. But if you can tell us how the funds will move from PF to pension fund if one opts for a higher pension, if you can give us a rough calculation or rough idea how this amount will be calculated or the
Right.
calculation will be done. Yeah.
Sure. So based on the guidelines, there is a cap currently, right? 8.33% on the cap that is being deducted, and the cap is 15,000 currently. So 8.33% on the 15,000 is what goes into the EPS. The balance goes into the EPF, and this I'm talking about only the employee contribution, not the self-employee contribution. Employee contribution still continues to be in the EPF, but 8.33% of 15,000 goes into EPS, which is a small amount. 1,250 rupees goes into the EPS, whereas the balance, which is 12% of the entire employer contribution minus that 1,250 goes into the EPF. That is what is currently happening. But suppose, let's say, I go for the joint declaration and opt for higher pension for all the number of years that I have put in the service. Let's say I have put in for the last 25 years. The entire 12% of the employer contribution will move into the EPS. So, barring that 1,250, that will get deducted because you've already contributed that to the EPS. The balance will now move totally into the EPS from your EPF. So, and that also will move along with the interest that you have accumulated so far. So that is a substantial amount. So going by that, your corpus which you will get on retirement of the EPF will substantially reduce. And of course, as the defined benefit goes, the as per the formula that is there, which is the pensionable amount into pensionable years, divided by 70 will be the pension that you will be getting, the monthly pension which you will be getting. So that's how it works.
Shantla, if you can tell us, is it better to go for a higher pension or accumulate EPF corpus?
Again, very individualistic. As I said, there are two things which you'll have to keep in mind. One is you will lose the flexibility of managing your own money for whatever asset allocation you want. You might be a very conservative person. I mean, I want only that purely 100% guaranteed. Then I may be going for the higher pension option. But if I know how to do my asset allocation, get a higher return, I have an advisor who will advise me accordingly. I know how to manage the tax portion of it. Because if you go for higher pension, the pension that you will get is taxable. Whereas if I manage my own EPF corpus, then I may be actually be able to better manage it more tax effectively, as well as from a return perspective, able to grow it better. So from that perspective, again, the decision is depending upon how I can do it, manage it then individual can manage it. Second thing, the flexibility goes away also in terms of how the pension is computed. So when I go for the higher pension, the guideline says I will get 100% of the pension as long as I am alive. My spouse will get it 50%, and post my spouse, the children up till the age of 25 will get. So children I would like to possibly ignore, because normally after retirement age, normally the children would have reached the age of 25. So if I restrict it to me and my spouse, I will get 100% of the pension as long as I am alive, and then it goes to my spouse. And if me and my spouse, let's say pass away in a short span of time, after retirement, then nothing comes back to the kids as inheritance, because the entire corpus is gone away. Whereas
Right.
if I have a bigger corpus, I can plan even if I go for a pension scheme, annuity scheme elsewhere, I can plan it in such a way that I get a particular pension, my spouse will get after me, and then the inheritance, the purchase price goes back to the kids. So it depends again on whether I want that to go. Of course, I mean, there are people who may not have legal heirs to give the inheritance. In such case, maybe even a pension, higher pension might make sense. But in most cases, people will not want to give away the purchase price. They will want it to come back to their families after they are gone, right? So in those cases, I think it's preferable not to opt for the higher pension option.
Chandla, if you can also tell us what are the procedural hassles while applying for higher pension?
Yeah, so basically there has been a lack of clarity when it comes to the procedure. There's this form 26, which ideally that joint declaration form, if you actually go over the form, a layman wouldn't understand. You may apply this, you may apply that. And we have to understand that it's not only for the educated lot, right? The members are very large diversity across the country. So lack of clarity in actually what it means is very important. Secondly, today I don't think EPFO has a system where the queries are handled. So if I have a question, whether this applies to me, this is how it applies to me, what is the amount, there is no way I get a proper reply. I mean, there is no system there. I mean, unless I go to EPF office, and then you may not find somebody who will reply to me. So these are really becoming an hindrance even for me to decide, or tell someone you decide like this, the math, even let's say the math is making sense. Even in that case, to say, okay, go and apply, it's becoming very difficult. Because there will be a lot of compliances even later. Let's say what happens after I pass away, if my spouse has to go and apply. In that case, again, if there are operational hassles, and then again there is a problem. So these are something which are deterring people from making the decision as well.
Right.
That is,
You mentioned about joint application under para 26 subsection
yeah.
6. So Kerala High Court also stepped in and said that it's not a mandatory requirement as of now. So what is the current status? Does one need to submit joint application, or is it entirely done away with?
Yeah, so the confusion was for an interim period where for settling claims they asked for this joint declaration. But for actually applying for the higher pension, this declaration is a must. For making
Okay.
claims, they insisted on this declaration and then they did away with it. So there it may not be important right now. They will not insist on it. There was a brief period when they insisted for the claims, but for actually going and applying for that higher pension, 26 is mandatory. You will have to apply for it through that.
We have to apply through that. Okay. Okay. Also, if you can tell us who can apply for a pension on a higher salary, and why is it only available for subscribers on or before September 2014?
Yeah. So there are just two cases. I mean, there's a lot of things mandated in the guideline, but to put it simply, somebody who's joined a job after 1st September 2014 is not eligible, and somebody who has been there, as on 1/9/2014 in the roles of EPS, as a member of the EPS, can apply only if the contribution that he is given towards either EPS or EPF is beyond the capped limit of 15,000. Only those people are eligible for it. And the guideline earlier, much earlier, they had very clearly mandated that it doesn't apply to people who become members post this period. So somebody who is now joining this EPS will not be eligible for this higher
Okay,
pension.
they can automatically apply for the higher pension, whoever are joining now, right? So
Yeah,
they don't have to go
yeah,
through.
they will not have to opt for it.
Right, right. Also, if you can wrap up for us, what point one should keep in mind while opting for a pension on higher salary, because it has got a lot of traction and people are reading about it and they want to apply for this. So, if one applies for it, what fine prints should be kept in mind?
Yeah, one specifically has to be the decision whether I want the corpus back post my passing away or my spouse's passing away. Do I want the corpus back to come as inheritance to my family? That is an important decision maker. The last one would be maths, but the in between these two will be how effectively do I have an advisor who can help me with managing the EPF corpus, or am I inclined or am I knowledgeable to learn, or am I inclined towards knowing all the various options, investment options that are there, and I can manage it well. That will also be an important factor. So first these two, and then actual calculations into how much will I get pension if I go for the higher pension, and how much will I lose in terms of the corpus on the EPF. These two also
Right.
will be a decision making factor eventually.
As we wrap up the show, thank you so much, Shantala, for joining us today. And as we await further clarification from EPFO regarding the procedure and reallocation of corpus, we recommend that you consult your financial advisor and only after assessing your financial situation, make an informed decision. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.